All right, happy Monday, everybody. I hope we're settling back into a routine. We got a great show for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed everything we had this morning at theraiderland.com and our 60 seconds of Raiderland commentary talking about the end of opulence in college sports. We'll get into that tonight on the broadcast. Now, the early arrivals, you know what to do. It's simple, it's easy. You let us know the audio is good, the video is good, and then you share that with other people. Whether you're on Twitter, Facebook, or otherwise, everybody comments, everybody gets in. Thanks to United Supermarkets in Market Street. I was there today. And the best thing I got this weekend, orzo. It's not rice, it's pasta, orzo. Yeah, add it to your next shrimp dish. So we got that Western wear provided by our friends at Boot City One Money Saving Mile outside the West Loop on 19th Street in Lubbock. You guys start pouring in. We got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. It is Texas Tech Legends Week. Each day we're going to be talking about Texas Tech legendary players in football, and looking forward to your comments and thoughts on that. Also, get helmet stickers on a Monday, every Monday. The people that were awesome, you celebrate that. And then whatever else we get into tonight, it's up to you a lot of times on the comments, and we want to hear from you. So if you're ready to go, let's do it in three, in two. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com, brought to you in part by our friends at Arctic Air here in the Arctic Air studios. If your air was not Arctic over the weekend, that's bad. Today it was okay. Don't let it fool you. Tomorrow it's going to be hot again. Call the bear, callthebear.com. We're also brought to you on Mondays by Domino's Pizza. You don't need Monday Night Football. You just need the app. You just need Domino's Pizza. Domino's.com. That's where you go. Don't cook. Don't heat up the kitchen. Don't make mama cook tonight. Just get some great pizza. If you're still out driving around and everything, James, check it in on Facebook. You can get in there, get it, go, take it home. And I want to welcome in for the first time here on the broadcast, Charles Middleton's son. Nobody does ranches and farms better in West Texas than Middleton. Nobody. Since 1920, that's over 100 years. They know farms, they know ranches. If you're looking to buy or sell, I don't know, not everybody wakes up every day thinking, I'm going to buy a ranch, I'm going to sell a ranch. But trust me, if you are in that market, this is who you need to call. They're spectacular at what they do. Some might say they're the best at what they do in West Texas and beyond. You find out for yourself. Middleton and Son. Check them out. Glad to have them on. Glad to have them part of Raiderland. Nobody does cooler than that. I figure if you can broker the sale of the 4.6s. Hi there, how you doing? That's exactly the kind of people we want with us here in Raiderland. So go to their Facebook page if you get a chance. I've linked to it on our Facebook page, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Tell them thanks for being a part of Raiderland and for making West Texas great. All right, let's do it. Texas Tech Legends Week. End of opulence in college sports. If you watch the commentary today, we can get into that. And I think Texas Tech absolutely 100% caught a break on the timing of the Womble and basketball, and certainly the football facility and Cody Campbell's donations and everything else. So we can get your thoughts there. But here's what we're going to do. Each night this week, two position groups, one on the offensive side of the ball, one on the defensive side of the ball. You give me your three favorite, three best on that side. Offense, defense. I see Twitter people coming in. I see our YouTube people. Thanks to United Supermarkets. Time for you to weigh in. Get your comments in. Let's go. CJ says, ready to do it. We're doing running backs tonight. We're doing linebackers. I think who runs into each other more on the football field? Linebackers and running backs. So let's do it tonight. Your three favorite, your three greatest, three best. Doesn't matter how you want to rank them. It's all about Tech Legends this week. Running backs and linebackers tonight. I'm intrigued to see who you're going to bring me. I know that there are probably some staple names, and that's fine. That's the way it should be. But I hope you guys are going to go deep. And I want to give a shout out to our friends at the Gambling Gauchos. They're doing the top 100 Red Raider countdown on Twitter at Gambling Gauchos. I've been impressed. They've gone deep. They've not made it just a simple, look through the media guide and throw these guys out there. The most impressive thing that the Gauchos have done, I don't know how you're doing it, Rob Bro, but they're actually finding some pictures and some good artwork, as we call it in media. They're finding some good pictures and artwork of some of these players. Good job. Even today, they had Sean Sears from the 1976 team introducing himself on a Bluebonnet broadcast that you can get on YouTube. I'll link to it tomorrow. But tonight, I want to get your running backs and your linebackers, three favorites all time. So let's get going on that. Where would I start my list? I don't know. There's the guys I saw play. There's the guys I saw play growing up. There are the guys I didn't see play because I wasn't born yet, but I've seen on film. And then there are the guys we know that were great even before that. So where do we go? Now, Chris is going to go on Facebook. You guys can get in on YouTube, Twitter. And I want you, where are my YouTube people? Where are my Twitter people? You guys are killing me tonight. Jump in. He goes, Hanspard, James Gray, and Bam. So a very tight 1980, 85, 86 to 2007 realm of running backs. And I did say favorites. So you can go favorites, you can go greatest. Out of that bunch, my favorite would be James Gray. The most impressive, Byron Hanspard. Bam was fun to watch. He was even funner to run to if you were out on a night on the town and happen to find yourself someplace after hours. Not that I would know that came from. But James Gray, probably one of my favorite running backs, all-time Texas Tech. Balance, speed, power. All he did is score touchdowns. He is, I believe, a forgotten running back for a lot of different reasons. Hell, running backs in college football these days, for a lot of fans, if you're under the age of, I don't know, 40, 45, seem to be forgotten. Is Collier going to be on the broadcast tonight, or is he and Leslie Chow attorney at Vegas? I don't think he's in Vegas. I can almost guarantee he's not in Vegas. Is Leslie Chow like on 13 or something? Forgive me, I don't know. I can almost guarantee you he's not at Big 12 Media Days. I wouldn't be at Big 12 Media Days in Las Vegas. 250 degrees. CJ jumps in. Running back Hadnot, linebacker. He's in the Hall of Fame, but lost his name. So James Hadnot at running back. We started off at tight end. That's when we wore 86. And Grant Teff had the great line all time. I think James Hadnot is the best tight end in the Southwest Conference, and I wish they'd move it back there. Another forgotten running back. Fantastic. Linebacker, he's in the Hall of Fame. Lost his name, Zach Taylor. Maybe Zach Thomas? You're thinking Zach Thomas? There's a guy named Zach Thomas out of White Deer, and White Deer was such a small school up in the Panhandle. He was so good. The family's like, hey, why don't you go to Pampa and be a harvester, a golden harvester? And he wowed everybody in the nation with his speed and his toughness, but not really. And so he goes to Texas Tech. Yeah, that Zach Thomas guy. He's Pro Football Hall of Famer. So linebackers are interesting. Linebackers. We just put one in the Tech Ring of Honor. Thomas Howard, who could have gone in early, very early on linebackers. Brad Hastings is a name that nobody ever brings up from the mid-'80s because he played on some really bad Jerry Moore teams and played on one, oh gosh, did he? Yeah, he played on one Muck Williams team, I guess would have been his senior year. Somebody's going to have to correct me on that. I don't think he did. I think it was all Jerry Moore, in fact. Adele Duckett, linebacker or defensive end. I would have him as an end. I would, at best, at different times with McMacken, he could flow in the zone blitz and work as an outside backer. But I would count Duckett as a defensive end or a lineman. And we're going to get to that this week. We will do offensive lineman and defensive lineman. So sit on your Adele Duckett. That's painful to say. Sit on your Adele Duckett and hold him for that. And then there's a good, highly underrated player. So tonight, Tech Legends, give us your 3 favorite running backs, your 3 favorite linebackers, 3 best if you want to do it that way. It's easy to do thanks to United Supermarkets and Market Street. You guys can get in. You can give out helmet stickers tonight, and we had a little commentary today about how the days of building crap are over at colleges. And if you're a Tech fan, you got absolutely freaking lucky. And we'll probably close out the show with some of that discussion. I really want to get you guys going on running backs and linebackers. And there's been a lot of good ones over the years. Fantastic linebackers, fantastic running backs. I can tell, we should have done this 30 years ago so we could get Donnie Anderson. Anybody say Donnie Anderson yet on the running backs? He could be a defensive back too, by the way. What about Handsome Ransom Walker? W.W. Nicholas, Wendy Nicholas. What about him? What about those guys? Walter Schlinkman. Where's my Walter Schlinkman crowd? Chris, Will Smith, Dakota Allen, obviously going very recency bias, and recency bias is real, and that's fine. Because I said favorites. That's why I said favorites. It's great to go favorite linebackers. And it's really interesting to look at some of the linebackers of the last 10 years when Tech had really bad defenses. And you're putting guys like Dakota Allen into the league. And Dakota Allen, 10, 15 years from now, guys like Rob Rowe will wax poetic about somebody like Dakota Allen. He could roam from sideline to sideline like a gazelle, moving swiftly, moving towards the prey, and then he would attack like an absolute wildebeest. That was the thing that impressed me about Dakota Allen, is how much ground he covered laterally. James, Torian Henderson was great in the early Leach days. Yeah. Torian, for me, is really hard to categorize. He comes off Ricky Williams. And they were just still trying to figure out what the running back was going to do in that time frame within the area. At first, it was just a dump off pass route position. That was how we got the running back the ball. We dumped off, and if he got a couple of yards, that was great. With Torian, they began to run it a little more with faking the inside jet sweep, running it off tackle. They ran some combo blocks on the outside with it. They began to actually scheme some things with the running back. That was an outgrowth that Hal Mumme had really not done effectively. And people say Mike Leach and Sonny Dykes and those guys didn't change anything. They did. And they changed how they utilized the running back with Torian Henderson with some dedicated inside runs and outside runs and how they blocked it. But with the motion, they would move linebackers, specifically the outside linebacker. And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoyed watching with that. That they would use motion to move, at the time, still a team that was heavily loaded on linebackers. You were still seeing a lot of, 4 linebacker sets, pure linebackers in the Big 12 in the early 2000s. And you could get them to move by moving formation by using motion. So they did a lot of that. And Torian Henderson was great at picking that apart. How great now we get into hey, if that's your favorite guy, that's your favorite guy. That's cool. Torian was in. Are you? One of the great marketing campaigns all time at Texas Tech. 100%. Now, how great he was? It's another discussion. Craig is jumping in. All my Facebook people are in. I want my YouTube people in. I want my Twitter people in. Thanks to United Supermarkets. All you got to do is comment, link in. I don't understand where you guys are tonight. Let's go. We're good on there. You ought to be good there. Don't let me down. The replay people are going to be fantastic tonight, I have no doubt. Craig, running James Gray with an A, not an E. Byron Hansford, Ben Morris. Linebackers Zach Thomas. Mike Smith of Coronado Mustang. And EJ Emerald Olive. Just glad to see. Mike Smith could have been a great baseball player too. Drafted, I think, in the 8th or 9th round by the Dodgers. Goes to a Tech. There's Jason Coffey. Just kidding. He was a a great recruit that flopped. Hey, you gave him a mention. That's awesome. There's Trace. Good on YouTube. My man is good on YouTube. My man is good on the barbecue grill. He's good on the guitar. He's good on YouTube. And making spicy salsa and whatever the hell he else does. Nobody really knows what he does for a living. That's really good. Randy, Johnny Mac, Hendo, and Wichita Fall Rider great. Jonathan Hawkins, Hawkmen Unite. Hawk was built like a bulldog that played with bowling balls. I'm assuming, well, anyways. Yeah, Hawkins, if you needed 2.5 yards, you gave the ball to Hawkins. If you needed 3.5 yards, he would get you 2.5 yards. And the legendary Johnny Mac, which sounds like a Paul Simon song, but it's not. 3 favorite running backs all time, 3 favorite linebackers. I gave you Brad Hastings, man, in the 80s. How many more linebackers you want? What about Matt Wingo, late 80s, early 90s? I can give you that. You know, Thomas Howard, who I called a lot of high school games with, and God bless that man. We went up to Borger one night, stopped at Sutphen's Barbecue before the game. It's amazing either one of us survived to call the game. Michael, he's a YouTuber. We love the YouTubers. Hansbard, Ricky Williams, and Tarian Henderson in all caps. I can see why you guys would be fans of Tarian. I ain't got nothing against him. He would not be in my top 3, but that didn't mean he's not awesome. Because what does every team have going back 50 some odd years, 60 some odd years? Running backs. You got running backs on every team. You got linebackers too. You guys are missing out on some really good linebackers over the years. But tonight it's linebackers and running backs. I think tomorrow we're doing either O-line and D-line or wide receivers and secondaries. I can't remember which. You know? Can't remember which. Brooks is impressive. I've always said that. Don't forget, we're going to get into the end of the opulence topic tonight. Why the days of spending like Texas Tech has spent over the last 3-4 years is done over and ended for college athletics, and why Texas Tech is actually in a pretty good spot minus one thing. There's only one thing that's not so great. That's okay. It can be dealt with. It's a lot better than most schools. But if you saw the commentary, you know what we're talking about. It's Tech Legends Week. Give me your favorite linebackers, your favorite running backs of all time. The fake Natalie Mates is talking about Zach Thomas. Brooks. Which Brooks? Rico Jeffers. I wasn't expecting a Rico reference tonight, and that's okay. That's good. And finally, this may be one of the first Twitter people on, and we get scads and scads of people watching on Twitter. You guys watching on Twitter, it's okay. You can comment. We'll see. Just like the fake Natalie Mates. It's not hard to do. It's really not. I mean, could he? But it's really not. Running backs over the years. James Hadnot would be on my list. Absolutely. James Gray. If we're talking, are we talking favorite or best? I don't know. Because if I put those two on, all of a sudden now I'm down to Hansbard, and then I say there's not a running back after 1997 that I put on the list. And there's been 1,000-yard rushers. There's Taj Brooks right now. Am I saying best or favorite? And Taj Brooks, when he's done this year, will probably thrust himself into the favorite running back just because of how hard he runs. And I wrote this a couple times and said it last year, you know, that, golly, he's good. No, different Hadnot. You're thinking of James Gray's son who played for Texas. Wish Shada would have stayed. Shada Williams out of Andrews ended up down there at Alabama and had a cup of coffee in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills. There was a had not that Butch had not played for TU. That was not a relation. It was not a direct relation to a James had not. If it was like a cousin's kid or something like that. You guys are thinking of James Gray's kid, who wore red and did not do hook 'em when that was going on. Thank you, James Gray. Which should count for something. So yeah, the problem I have in looking at running backs is, my favorite best or whatever. Donnie Anderson. How do I not put Donnie Anderson on there? Donnie Anderson's got to be on your list of best running backs all time. Just does. It translated in the NFL at a time when it was hard to be a great running back. He was the featured running back on the best team in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers. Let that sink in for a moment. That he was the guy on the drive in the Ice Bowl that made 3 huge plays. That Donnie Anderson, best team in the NFL during the decade, he was the running back, other than the early portion of the decade for Paul Hornung, but middle to late, he's the guy. And I get it. A lot of people don't know. They don't remember everything else. Anderson's got to be there, right? Chris says Kong, as in James Hadnot. Don't. Raiderland helmet sticker. Adonis Arms, he went off for 32. Was it Golden State or whatever it was? I can't remember which time. Denver or something. I don't know. Playing better than LeBron's son. LeBron's son only scored 4 more points than I did this weekend, and I'm not playing. I feel sorry for the guy. I really do. Helmet stickers go out to people that are awesome. Texas Tech softball. Holy crap, they're signing a ton of players, and they're good. Anytime you sign a player that shut out and beat, I don't know what shut out, maybe gave up 1 run, beat Oklahoma in Norman, yeah, that's an upgrade. I get one. My kid gets a helmet sticker. He did his first stint as a youth counselor at a church camp this last week up there in Glorieta, New Mexico. One tells me he's smart. He went to the mountains where it was cool. It rained some. But he survived it. One shirt didn't. Had a whole lot of mud. Don't know what happened there. But he survived that. And all the kids came back with all their digits and no lawsuits. Good job, kid. All right, we got YouTube in. We got Twitter in. Where are my Twitter people? Get my commenters. All right. We will continue to get your thoughts on your favorite running backs, linebackers tonight. Tomorrow, check with us on the website, theraiderland.com, for the morning column. I'll either do offensive line, defensive line, or we might go receivers, defensive backs. Quarterbacks will get their own day because I was a quarterback. We'll get our own day. So check with us on that. But I do want to talk about the end of opulence in college football and get your thoughts on that. Did you know that Taj is related to Jonathan Brooks from the Huntsville that played the Brooks brothers from Charlotte? I guess I'll take a word for that, Randy. That's a whole lot of stuff for me to read. Anthony Lynn, the tallest great running back of all time. And a good guy. His only sin was coming up after James Gray. But he was a really good eye back, pure eye back. I mean, he was a taller Anthony Dickerson in that mold. Strong upright runner, obviously had a nice career in the NFL. Got him 2 rings on mainly as a special teams player later on the decade with the Broncos, and we all know that he's been a great coach and everything else. So, Anthony Lynn, what was it? I can't remember what year it was. We ended up at the Black Eyed Pea, separate but together, both waiting for other people to show up. And I believe the one who showed up was the woman who eventually became his wife. I hope they're still married. I hope you guys are still married and happily married. The girl who showed up for me was not my wife. We're still friends, but not my wife. But we're sitting there at the bar, just like, hey, yeah. End of Opulence. The days of spending like Texas Tech has spent with the football improvements, the Corky Dome, the football facility, the Womble and basketball, those days are over. The days of opulence are done. And I don't know how many college football fans and college sports fans realize how much money the colleges put into facilities compared to pro teams. That if you were to go to Kansas City's, not the stadiums, they fleece the taxpayers on that. You guys pay for that. I'm talking about the everyday buildings. They're incredibly basic. In fact, the Chiefs building, when they do the anonymous surveys every year, it comes out, we hate this building. It sucks. There aren't any windows. There's nothing nice about it. It's functional. The first time I really realized that was in the late 90s, and I was out there in Arizona, and I was at the Cardinals facility, and we walk in, and it's like a bad elementary school building. Now, I know we're talking about the Cardinals, but nothing much has changed. Now, why do pro sports teams not spend a crap ton on their facilities, the everyday thing, the buildings? They have to spend it on the people. They have to spend it on labor, a 52 to 48 cost. Now, the early numbers that the NCAA is dealing with, depending on your budget, might be 20%, might be 30%. Trust me, we're 10 years away, if that, from 4 out of every $10 going towards labor cost. That means that buildings like Texas Tech is built and moderately cash flowed over the last couple of years are done. Texas Tech got lucky. Texas Tech absolutely got lucky in the timing of the Womble basketball facility and Cody Campbell and Womble doing the South End Zone and all the stuff they've done. Because 2 years from now, right now, nobody's signing up for that. You can't afford it. Now, the other thing that is not gotten a ton of news or coverage or whatever you want to talk about, the not so dirty little secret of debt service that public and private universities have in front of them within their athletic departments, Texas Tech included. None of them incurred the debt they have right now today, thinking we were about to be peeling off 20 some odd $1 million a year out of our budget to pay for labor. All of that was done, whether it was done through bonds, banks, otherwise debt service, however you sold it off, whatever you did to finance it, all of that was done under the old paradigm, the old business paradigm, where you were going to have X number of dollars flowing in based on your TV agreements. And we get this, and hey, don't worry about it. We'll pay you back. Look at this. We got this 4-year TV agreement. We're going to get this every year. And all of a sudden now, the House settled, which may be scuttled, and I think it will be, and that's only bad because it's only going to get worse going from here. All of a sudden, all these schools that owe all of this debt to service for what they built, they've lost a massive amount of yearly revenue, pass-through revenue, that they were going to service the debt on. What happens when you can't service the debt? It's a very interesting question here. I want you to ponder it. What happens when these schools can't service the debt on what they've built? Nothing. What are they going to do? Repossess Jones Stadium? They're going to repossess athletic departments? They could, but then they get nothing. I foresee a decade of debt default within public and other services. And it's going to be ugly. And that to me is the biggest thing right now with what we're seeing with the outlay of expenditure, now having to pay for labor, that none of the budgets were set going forward, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year outlays. None of those brought into play $20 million a year haircut. Now you do. Chris, yes, debt servicing is killer. Loans resetting kill some. Free money ain't always so free, and it was never free. And the banks and the people that loaned it are going to be on there. But yeah, you've got some really interesting things that are going to transpire in the coming years. And all it's going to do is further winnow down the universities that can play big boy college football. And that's the only thing that matters. And then we'll play basketball if we get anything left over. And then everything else, hey, if you got enough left over to play it as a university, congratulations. 5 to 10 years. It's happening faster every day. Is Texas Tech in a good position? Yes. Kirby Hocutt did a good job. Lawrence Skubenick, Board of Regents, did a good job of moderately, as much as they could, cash flowing what they were doing. Cash on hand, we don't break ground until we've got a good, firm idea that we can pay for this. There's still debt to be serviced, but it's not nearly as bad. Houston is a school that will suffer greatly. Cincinnati, as I understand it, is a school that will suffer greatly. There are tons of them around the country that when all this comes home, they aren't going to be able to financially remain a part of major college football because they can't pay the rent. It ain't nobody else going to pay it for them. Ryan, it makes me wonder why so many schools are willing to settle the suit to pay players, because they think it's going to get worse. And they think and thought that they could saddle the non-Power Fives with a heavier burden. And the Houston Christian lawsuit, if you guys have been paying attention to that, is scuttling that. So they thought this is the best deal we're going to get. We're going to do it, even knowing that it's probably going to blow up. When Tech financed the South End Zone, they worked with CRB, the largest commercial real estate firm in the world, work on financing. Saved Tech 50 basis points. That's each basis point, as you guys know, it's an interest level point. Think about buying a home to go through traditional local banks like they've used before. Good, smart move. And that's what I'm saying, that Texas Tech, I think, is ahead of the game on this, that they've managed their debt load and they've not expended before they could do exactly what you're saying right there, that they really already had that paid for the most part. Unless we turn uniforms and college sports into moving advertisements like decals and Nest, dude, it's already happening. What do you think that logo is on the Texas Tech football? Jared, what logo is going to be on Texas Tech football this fall? Jerseys. Come on, Jared. What do you think? What's going to be on there? You've been paying attention. You know. It's already happening. It's done. And it's not going to be the last one on there. There will be others. And there will be others on the field, at midfield and at the 35. Maybe not in the end zone, but they'll be out there. Yeah, you got to maximize everything. So the point about the Opulence that I wanted people to understand is that Texas Tech actually got lucky. 100% got lucky when they did the south end zone and when they did the Womble, because that's it. Those days are over. Nobody doing that anymore. Not like that, not like that level. You're going to be one of the last ones. In regards to the NIL, can individual athletes have advertisements separate from the university? Absolutely. Absolutely, they can. Now, can they have it on the jersey? No, not yet. But they can have it everywhere else. It would be, I would say, from a NASCAR standpoint, I can I can represent Miller Lite outside of the NASCAR realm. I can't have Miller Lite on my uniform because Coors Light bought the uniform for all of NASCAR. So something buys the uniform through the university. Yeah, they buy the uniform. I can do it outside of that. I know that's a little muddled. That's not the best I can do there, but it's the best you're going to get right now. But 100% individual athletes can have advertising separate from the university. I think what you're probably getting at is, can they have it on their uniform? Can they display it during the course of the game? No, those marks will be controlled by the university, just like the NFL controls your uniform while you're out there. But I can still go out after the game. Like, Patrick Mahomes didn't have Head and Shoulders on his jersey, but he goes out after the game. He has Head and Shoulders. He didn't have State Farm on his jersey. He can do it afterwards. Will these sponsor deals go through Learfield or Tech Athletics? Which sponsor deals? And that's a great question, because that's what they're trying to figure out right now. What will, secondary licensing partners like Learfield control? What will Texas Tech control? Who will do that? Learfield, okay, so a Learfield has what they've contracted so far through the dates of their contract, as I understand it, going forward. After that, I am told that kind of becomes open hunting season. I need to get with Learfield, my guy, Rick, who's a great guy, Rick Leach. That'd be a great conversation on who controls, who can do that. Now, I would assume that Tech could roll Learfield in and say, we want you to represent us in all these deals, or they could say, we're going to do this outside, whatever legally we have to do with you. Great question. Good call. Astros Rangers have sponsors on their shoulders. Yes, they do. Good grief, we're going late. Will these sponsors, how long until Double T is privatized? Can the Double T be, well, Tech owns the copyright on the Double T. They own the trademark and the copyright on the beveled, unbeveled, mask rider. You can't use the Double T without their express written consent, except for, just basic, like, hey, we're doing a sports cast. We're, not trying to make anything off it, whatever. Learfield will want their cut. I bet universities shift their strategies. Now, you're still going to need, Learfield is going to still play a huge role. In fact, it only gets bigger, I believe, Randy, that they have the ability to leverage multi-markets in the marketplace, multi-markets for schools. And Learfield's not going to go away. They're going to shift just like they did in the 90s, in the 2000s, and the 2010s. But they're not going to go away. Thank you, CJ, Green White Checker. We went Green White Checker. All right. That's it. Tomorrow, Texas Tech legends continue, either O-line, a D-line, or wide receivers, defensive backs. Check out Tuesday's Best tomorrow, theraiderland.com. I want you guys to share this. Everybody who's watching, put this on your Twitter, Facebook page, whatever it is. Share that. I'm going to put this on our page, theraiderland.com, here in a minute. I want you guys to throw out our 60 seconds in Raiderland commentary. We do that most days. I want you guys to do that. I want you guys to be there, and I want you guys to share that. So if you enjoy what we do, if you appreciate everything we do, I ain't asking you to send me $1. I'm asking you to make $100 by supporting our great sponsors. It's not hard to do. All you got to do is share it. If you guys will do that for me, we'll keep doing this for you. In stream, in stream.